Welcome to Patrick's Scale Studio. My name is Patrick. I'll be your host. This is video 7 for the USS Fletcher, DD-445 and 1200 by Trumpeter. And up till this point, it's taken 6 videos to pretty much get page 3 knocked out. That said, we're still not 100% done with page 3 here because we've got the propellers that I have not yet installed. And that's because I took some time here to really thin out the blades on these so it doesn't look so much like a toy. Let me get that to focus. I'll put up a picture later on here that'll kind of show the difference between what you get as it comes in the kit and after you thin down the edge of those propeller blades. This video, though, video number 7, is mainly going to be geared toward knocking out page 4 of our instructions, and that's going to be things like the anchor system here. There's a reel. We have to put together another reel right here that goes on, further back. Hatch, some rub rails, and I believe these are cradles to hold depth charges. So I'm not going to actually bore anyone with all of parts removal and cleanup and sanding and all that stuff. I'm going to get them all removed. Going to have them all painted up, and when we're ready to put them on the deck, I will show you that along with the colors and things like that I've made things. And then one other thing that we've got to tackle here on this is, and I'll see if we can get the camera to focus, is part of page 4 is adding, it looks like 3 little valve handles, one there, and then there's one right here, and I can't tell if either this little peg was broken off in the package or if it's something I did, and it's absolutely possible I could have broken it off myself, but we're going to end up fixing that by drilling out where that was, and I pulled this little part out of a spare parts, and it's really it's like a big long probe or something like that goes in the bottom of a BF 110 in 1/32 scale, but I'm just going to drill that out, and I've got this sanded down so that it's really nice and round, and I'm going to be able to, after that's drilled out, put this in place and then cut it off at about the correct height so I can then put the valve handle on there. And I believe those valve handles I'm going to paint red. I have not really been able to find anything regarding those, but it looks like they're close to fire hose draped on the side of some of the superstructure right here. So I'm going to paint it red because I think it would be used for firefighting. I think there would be a valve for opening up firefighting water to those hoses and such. So that's what I'm going to go with on that. And I think a lot of these other pieces are just going to be that XF25, that light ocean gray. And, well, at any rate, let me go ahead and get all those parts pulled off, painted up, and we'll be right back here to show you putting them on. Okay, well, I went ahead and got all of the parts cleaned up, taken off the sprues or the frets in the case of photo etch. Everything's been cleaned up. For the most part, there are still a couple attachments to sprues here, which I'll take off as I go, just so I don't get them mixed up. And then additionally, everything that I could paint to this point has been painted as well. And then, in addition to these parts, here is the little fix for what I was talking about earlier, where on the deck, one of those little pegs, one of the little pegs that would go underneath one of these valve handles broke off. So I've already drilled a hole through the deck, and I'm going to put this in, glue it in, and then I've already sized it up. It looks to be just about identical to the others. So I'm going to get that in first. Then we have to get those pegs painted in this XF25, this light sea gray, and then those will go on top of those 3 pegs. Everything else here is largely ready to go, though. This little valve right here that goes by the anchor system, I'm going to paint that valve handle black, kind of help it stand out a little bit. This right here looked like rope, so I already painted that on the reel. And the propellers came out really nice as well. I got those painted in brass. So I'm going to get those on here, and that will complete page 3 and page 4 of the instructions. So let me go ahead and move this out of the way carefully and bring the ship over here, and we'll go ahead and get going. Okay, we're going to try something new here, and that's me getting this camera way down close to the work so we can see it a little bit better here, or at least you'll be able to see it a little bit better here. For the most part, I'm just really dealing with kind of a not very good webcam right now. It's kind of basic, and honestly never considered that it would be such a struggle here using this silly camera. So I'm going to get it way down. I tried to get the lighting adjusted so everything looks a little bit better. I'm going to give it a shot here. This is right here me replacing the that little post. Go all the way down, go all the way in, there we go. Now it's about exactly the same as that right there. And once the glue sets up on that, I'm going to paint these that XF25 light sea gray. Just kind of, you know, I like being able to show off a lot of the detail. And yeah, it might be what you would consider maybe a stylized way of going about showing off some of the detail, but it works for me. Again, it's going to be in my cabinet, not anywhere else. So another consideration here that I'm still kind of wrestling with is, so I got some chain, some studded anchor chain here from HS Hobbies for 1/200 scale destroyers. And you can see it's got the little stud right there in the middle of the link, and that's the way a proper US naval chain is. And it kind of helps the chain from fouling up on itself and kinking on itself. The only issue with that is that chain, which is supposedly the correct size for destroyers, is just a touch oversized for this. I still want to use the chain, no doubt about that, but in order to put it on the deck here and have it go where it's supposed to go to, 25 goes over here. And honestly, from what I've seen in the chain layouts on Fletcher, is the port anchor chain goes directly in. I've seen this on black and white photos. The port anchor chain goes right from here to there and goes underneath this deck. The starboard anchor chain comes up and goes around the capstan and in the back side right there. So they've kind of got these backwards, but again, their whole diagram, their whole anchor diagram is completely incorrect as well. So I'm going to go ahead and reverse things a little bit. It might look a little funny. Oh, sorry about that, folks. But we are going to do it so that 25 goes there. And I think what we're going to have to do as well is cut out a little bit of this right here, probably using a drill bit, so we can make sure that the anchor chain goes all the way in and it doesn't look like it's just kind of sitting there at the doorstep. Okay, so one other thing that also occurred to me here is I could just reverse put part 25 over in part 24's spot. Maybe just Trumper got their instructions backward. I don't know. You can see the two holes that I drilled here. It's not the most ideal solution, but it will help the anchor chains disappear underneath these pieces and into under the deck as it's supposed to be. Now, just wrestling around with these pieces is something else entirely, because they are so minuscule. But it'll go right there. So I'll go ahead and I think this is a job for our wax pencil. Alright, now I can go ahead and take some Tamiya extra thin and just apply a little bit. Alright, so we've got just a little bit. I'm going to move this just over here a little bit so I don't hit the camera with this wax pencil. Alright, so I went ahead and got that into place there. Just use the power of my fingers to push it down and kind of mash it in a little bit. And I'll check here behind it just to make sure that the opening on this lines up with the hole in the deck. There. Now that looks better. I'm going to go ahead and get this other side knocked out here just off camera. I'll be right back. Okay, with both of those on there, I'm going to move on to these two pieces up here, which is parts A36. They're just two of the same, and they're identical. On these, just to make it a little bit easier, you can see how small the part actually is. I'm going to leave this sprue nib on there right there, so it'll give me something to grab onto, and then I'll come back later and nip it off after the cement is set, and then I will touch up the tops of them with a little bit of XF25. Okay, one's on there. And the neat thing about these is these were kind of like, I think they were just kind of guides for the anchor chains. So we'll probably put a little bit of maybe steel or something around, a little bit of rust, just to kind of make it look like you know, they are adequately guiding the anchor chains. A little bit of metal on metal would definitely cause scrapes on paint and allow the metal to be exposed to that salty sea air and salty water. So go ahead here and sorry about the so much shaking here on me and on the camera. It's just hard to believe how incredibly small some of this stuff is. Alright, I'm happy with those two there. So we'll go ahead and start moving backward. So next up we've got in the instructions, right here is like a little valve. It goes in right there. Now it looks like I'm going to have to open up the hole a little bit. Next size up. And luckily we're not actually doing any real drilling here. This is mainly just kind of clearing out paint and providing allowances for the part to actually fit in. Alright. A little bugger would let me pick it up. There we go. There we go. That'll fit in there just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and apply a little extra thin here on the bottom of this part. And after this gets set up, oh goodness, after that gets all set up, I'm going to go back in and I will paint the this valve handle. We'll paint it black just to kind of help it stand out. Alrighty, and next up is C13. C13 goes back here. I'll make this up a little bit. I'll go right there. And again, I'm going to have to shave this down a little bit. Let me do this off camera. I'll be right back. Alright, so I had to use a teeny tiny little file just so I could get the little peg there where this goes, so I can get that shape down a little bit. It's annoying to me when the fit is so tight, and it's a good thing to have a really nice tight fit on the parts, but when you're trying to fit it into the deck and it doesn't go, sometimes it's chipping this paint, that's what's annoying to me. Alright, so I got that seated. Excellent. So next up, we're going to continue going further aft. Again, I'm not too worried about these 3 pegs yet with the little valve handles. We're going to go ahead and move to the reel, which is identified in the instructions as part 4. Or maybe step 4, you put it together. And that is right here. I just might have to use fingers. And again, we're going to have to clean the holes out a little bit. There's the... Alright. Alright, let me go ahead and see if this will fit in there now. Almost. I'm going to go back to that drill bit again. And yeah, I'm kind of moving around with this a little bit on purpose. Once this gets the extra thin cement on it, that'll kind of act as a lubricant. And will kind of help the plastic all meld together.
Sorry, could you say that again?
My watch sometimes has a mind of her own. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and glue this off camera because I got 4 little pegs to do. Be right back. Okay, it's on now. Let's see it. This is actually comprised of 5 separate parts, 2 pieces of photo etch and 3 teeny tiny little plastic parts. Alright, so going back further, we now have B15. B15 locates right there. Go ahead and see if it'll go in easily, or if it's going to make us ream out the holes again. Yep. I still have the same drill handy. Another oddity to this kit is some of the holes have bottoms, and some of them go all the way through. And on a part like this, where there's no chance of it slipping through, it doesn't make sense to me on why it would have bottoms, or a lot of the parts are just like that. I'm going to go ahead again and get some glue on here. Apologies, as you can tell, camera work is not a strong skill of mine. Alright, so that's on there now as well. So, continuing our journey back, we come up to a lot of these and way more of these. There's 5 of the E2, and the only difference I can tell is that they're a little bit taller. And these, for the most part, will E2. Look at our instructions here. Alright, so we want to put down the E21s first on this side, because they're a little bit shorter. And it looks like we'll go E21, E2, E21, E2, E21, E2. So, but definitely want to stick down all the short ones first. Again, from what I can see, they just go kind of like that. So, and then the E2, if I can get one of these things, will go right there. Oops. As you can see, it's just a tad taller than the E21, but this is something I'm definitely going to do off camera, because it looks like there is probably almost 20 of these to put in. I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera. We'll be right back here with the to show you, and then with the next steps on fitting out this hole. Okay, as you can see, we got all of those installed. I'm not 100% sure on what they are. I think they're cradles and racks for the depth charges. The K guns go right here and right there. I think that's what they are, but I could be completely wrong. If someone knows, I would really appreciate that insight. But going to continue moving further back, and our next part up is A9. A9 goes right there. And I don't even think I'm going to end up putting down any cement. That went in there so tight, it doesn't have a chance of coming off. Alright, and again further aft here, we've got 2 of these. These are C14, one of which goes right there, and another goes right there through these decals. Right there. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little extra thin on in those spots. I'll tell you what, we'll put them on the pieces actually. Oh, I know this Probably doesn't seem like we're doing a whole lot, but as fiddly and tiny as these parts are, it's actually a touch nerve-wracking. As small as they are as well, it's given me a little bit of a shake because I'm very nervous if something falls off and then disappears forever on the floor. Alright, those are in place. And back here we've got these two photo etch pieces here. And we'll go right there. I'm going to do these off camera because it will require CA, and I want this piece to be a lot closer to me rather than away from me under this camera, just so I don't slip up with CA and then make a giant mess all over the deck here. So be right back when I've got those in place. Okay, so those went on a little bit easier than anticipated, but again, just because I could actually get the ship underneath me rather than underneath the camera. That's what they look like. Alright, so on to the next step here, which is these, let's call them rub rails, I think. One is for the port. This one right here is for the port side. And then the other starboard side, of course. Alright, I remembered I had actually incorrectly identified those holes. I just thought they were some kind of a drainage or a port or something like that. I mean, they're too small to be port holes for people, but what they are is actually the locating holes for these rub rails. And go on there just like so. Okay, I'm going to go ahead, and I've already got some cement on this one. There we go. It's in place. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for this propeller here as we did on the other side. Some of the regular white cap to me of cement. Come on. There we go. Okay, and other than the tiny little valves on the deck, we've pretty much concluded. We have definitely concluded page 3, and just about page 4 here. So after I get those little posts, these little posts right here, cleaned up, then I'm going to put those little valve handles on there and paint them red, and paint the little valve handle from much earlier up by the anchors. I'm going to paint that black, and at that point we should be done with page 4. Okay, last steps here are going to be applying these teeny tiny little valve wheels to the tops of these little posts. And as you can see, I did get those painted in the XF25. So I'm going to go ahead now, and using a toothpick, I'm going to apply a little bit of CA medium to the top of this post. Just a touch. Alrighty, and we'll bring him over. Alright, and what I can do with this after the CA sets up is I can take either a little bit of red paint on a paintbrush, or I even have some paint markers in red, and I'll just go over that real lightly just to give it that red color. And I'll do something similar up here for that with black, because I also have a black marker. And you could also just do the same thing with a little bit of a paint on a paintbrush. Go ahead and get the rest of these all done. Nice thing about this CA is it'll dry clear and usually a little glossy, but what I'm planning on here with the deck is gloss coating everything so that I can put a little thin down oil paint around stuff to kind of run into those details and kind of help things pop. And then afterwards, everything will get a nice coating of matte clear. And it'll all blend perfectly. Alright, so last piece. Alright, come on. Okay, I'm satisfied with that. All of the parts from page 4 are now installed onto the hull. One of the things I did while I was waiting for other things to dry is you can see these cradles here, and if my guess is correct, these used to be like little cradles or something to hold depth charges, or just depth charge racks or what have you. Then that's going to be metal on metal, and this paint probably would have gotten all scratched up and everything like that. So I took a little bit of steel paint and I painted it down over on the tops of these where those depth charges would have been resting. And then later on, when we're going back, I might add just a little bit of touch of rust to each and every one, because again, it's bare steel and it's getting hit by salt water or salt in the air is definitely going to cause these to rust a little bit. So when we get everything kind of installed here before we do a clear coat and then do our matte coat and everything like that, then we will start worrying about adding some rust tones to everything like that. But for the most part, this video is all finished up. I'll go ahead and push this aside and we'll see what we have to look forward to for video number 8. It'll be page 5, and it looks like we're going to be installing some more parts up there, including a cap stand, and these, I think these are called fair leads. These splinter shields right here that would go around where those 20 millimeter Oerlikons are, the depth charge K guns, and looks like 2 little cylindrical things right here. I'm not really sure what those are, but that will be what we do for next time. I will try to have all the parts already pulled off and prepped and ready to go. But that'll do it for tonight. I really hope that you enjoy what you were watching. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, or even technique suggestions, please leave it in the comments below. And as always, thank you very much for watching.